I am very excited to have you all on the show this morning. I have very interesting stories to share with us, and very quickly, in just about 5 minutes, I'll be looking through these major stories from five different Nigerian newspapers. My name is Tion Joseph. I am your regular host. To begin with, let's look at Leadership, which is the most influential newspaper in Nigeria right now. On the front page of Leadership, the lead story says 2023 presidency, Christian leaders quiz Atiku, Obi, Adebayo over plans for Nigeria. Full story can be found on page 4. Heading down there, the first bullet says we won't endorse any presidential candidate, says Khan. The next bullet says give us a chance. We will make Nigeria work again. PDP, LP, flag bearers. And the very last bullet on Leadership this morning says, I will recharge Lake Chad if elected President Tinubu. Just before we proceed to the next paper, there's an interesting story here on Qatar 2022. Saudi Arabia declares public holiday to celebrate Argentina win. Hopefully, by the time Nigeria gets into the World Cup, next coming World Cup, we also have a public holiday to celebrate. Now we move to this day. And the lead story on this day says Buhari kickstarts oil drilling in North as $3 billion Kolmani River oil wells takes off. The first bullet says Northern Governors Tinubu orders upbeat. The next bullet says urge operators to learn from mistakes in Niger Delta. The next bullet says new discovery to add 1 billion barrels, 500 BCF gas to national reserves. And the very last bullet on this day says facility expected to produce 120,000 ppd house refinery fertilizer pump. Now we move briskly to the Vanguard. And the lead story on the Vanguard this morning says PDP crisis. IBB, Goodluck Jonathan, move to reconcile Atiku, Wike. And the first bullet says Atiku's meeting with ex-president Frifu, PCC source. Next bullet, and the very last one says pro-Atiku group chides Jang G5 governors over stance on IU. That is what we have on the Vanguard this morning, and that takes us straight to the Guardian. And on the Guardian this morning, the lead story says oil drilling begins in Gombe, Bauchi with 1 billion barrels oil, 500 BCSF gas. Now, the first bullet says Buhari orders NNPC to step up oil. Oil search says Kolmani project attracted $3 billion investment. The next bullet says Silver carry drum support for exploration across inland. The next bullet says Lawan advocates constitutional review for 13% derivation utilization. The next bullet says Bauchi Gombe governors pledge support conducive environment. And the last bullet on the Guardian this morning says, I will take project up from Buhari, says Tinubu. That takes us to the very last daily we'll be reviewing for the first part of the show, which will be the Daily Sun. The lead story on the Daily Sun says 2023 polls, Atiku Obi present plans to calm. The first bullet says Nigeria requires president with physical, mental energy, Labour Party candidate. And the last bullet on the Sun this morning says, I work with National Assembly to expunge indigenship in Constitution. This is coming from PDP Standard Bearer. Thank you, viewers, for staying tuned for the first part of the show. We crave your indulgence to do the same for the second part of the show. My name is Tion Joseph, and I'll be back your way 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Stay tuned.
Good morning. Welcome to the breakfast edition of Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television. My name is Wumi Fredo, and with me in the studio is a public affairs analyst. He's also a political scientist. He is Adefolari Lamileko. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me.
So
And good
we
morning.
have about 5 papers for discussion and review this Wednesday, November 23, 2022. And of course, we start with Nigeria's most influential leadership. Leadership newspaper says 2023 presidency. Christian leaders quiz Atiku Obi Adebayo over plans for Nigeria. 2023 presidency. Christian leaders quiz Atiku Obi Adebayo over plans for Nigeria. The story is on page 4 of Leadership newspaper. Underneath the leading story, we have riders. We won't endorse any presidential candidate, says Khan. Give us a chance, we'll make Nigeria work again. PDP, LP, flag bearers. I will recharge Lake Chad if elected president Tinubu. The story is on the cover of Leadership this Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. For online copy, if you want to read more on the stories, you get the copy of Leadership or log on to their website. Another paper that has similar story with Leadership is Daily Sun. Daily Sun says 2023 polls, Atiku Obi present plans to Khan. 2023 polls, Atiku Obi present plans to Khan. Nigeria requires president with physical mental energy. LP Labour Party candidates. Our expunge indigenship in constitution. PDP standard bearer. That's the leading story on Daily Sun. And the story is on page 6 of the paper. Now, I'm coming to you, Adefolari.
So the issue is that Khan already had the opportunity to do the same thing with Tinubu. Now
Yes.
it is for Atiku, Obi, and also for Adebayo.
Yes.
And it's very instructive that these presidential candidates are meeting the religious body and religious leaders to tell them what they want.
Their
But
plans.
but the good side of it is that Khan have come out to say we are not endorsing any candidate. It's very striking, it's very instructive, and it's direct in a sense that before now, before this particular meeting with them, it was like, okay, Khan has already have a particular candidate in mind. But as it is now, based on what Khan is saying, based on what the media are reporting, there is no candidate favorable to Khan at this point in time. And interrogating what they plan to do for Nigeria after 2023 is very key, because that is the question we should be asking this presidential candidate. What will you do on A sector, on B sector, on C sector? And with the numbers of Nigeria in poverty, with 133 million of them, what will be the plans of this presidential candidate if they eventually find themselves in that sort of, which I know Khan would have interrogated them on this particular issue very, very well. But away from that particular, whether Khan endorse, they don't endorse, whether the presidential candidate put out what they want to do or they didn't put out what they want to do. But the message still remains that at this point in time in Nigerian life, we need a president that is fit, a president that is healthy, and a president that will think thoroughly every of his program before he brings it out. Because if that program is not well thoroughly looked into before it is implemented, it will always make the brick wall, and it will not be better for Nigeria in progressing the people to and they will do the plans that they have for them.
However, Adefolari, me, I'm of the opinion that we've seen cases, at least we've had governments especially since 1999, and the governments, we've had even debates, we have different fora, and these candidates will come and tell Nigerians that this is what we intend to do when we come to office. But it will become a different ball game altogether when they eventually get there, and it's not what they said, they told the masses they were going to do, that they do at the end of the day. So would you say that is it worth it?
What will normally happen is that in government, when you find yourself in government, the reality is a little bit different from when you are not in government. Because the moment you enter government, the first thing that will become a challenge to you is the bureaucratic nature of the governance. In Nigeria, for example, the bureaucratic nature of governance starts with the president approval. The file should go from table 1, table 2, table 3 before it gets down to the final implementation table. Then apart from that, our focus has always been on federal government. And majority of us are not looking away from that angle, that it is federal government. State government have a huge chunk of this responsibility than even the federal government. Although because of the constitutional responsibility of the federal government with over 60 areas they concentrate, from military to currency to foreign affairs and to other areas, the state government, local government have a lot of work to do. But because our focus has been on federal government, we allow the state government to just do on and undo. That's why I see that in job creation, it is not the federal government. You look at it critically, job creation supposed to be at the state level.
Yes.
But everybody is rushing down to the federal capital. Everybody is rushing down to Lagos. Everybody is rushing down to Port Harcourt. Meanwhile, state government is supposed to create jobs for their people.
Yes, you belong to a state, you belong to a local government.
Exactly.
And these are stratas that are supposed to also cater for the citizenry. And on the way while coming to the office too, I was musing over the EFCC said they're taking about 707 million from the Accountant General of the Federation and seized 3 properties. That is very, very poor compared to the amount that he was said to have embezzled, stolen. That is about over 109 billion, and you are taking over some. And that's not the case too. I was also thinking about the fact that state governments that you mentioned, state government, before they can access their funds, this is from fact. They have to still bribe their way. They have to settle these accountants. Remember some of the money that he was said to have stolen was the money given to him by some of these states accountant general. So what do you have to say about that? You are still talking boils down to these bottlenecks that you talked about. What can be done? That things should be done properly.
Not that we don't have the machinery, we don't have the
a clerk that is carrying file, you have to sort it before you can carry your file.
If from the gate, the security man at the gate, you have to look at them and tell them something sweet before they allow you to. I've had encounters with several security men at the gate of any organization I'm going, and I'll ask them, is it because I didn't come with SUV or because at the end of the day, it starts from the gate, the gate to the reception, to the desk, from the desk to the office that you are going. The person you will talk to before you get to the main man you are going to meet, and before your document will pass through all this, it is not just at the top level. You will start sorting, as we normally call it in local parlance. You start sorting from the gate.
Yes.
Now, what should we do? The structure is there to implement that. We should ensure that everything works perfectly for Nigeria. But it all boils down to the remuneration of some of these people that are working in this organization. How much have they been paid in terms of salaries, illuminate motivation? What motivates them to even be employed into those offices? That's number one. Then 2, we have been able to we have monetized even government office to the point, not just politics. We have also monetized government office to the point that people who are at the top, because they enjoy luxury of being at the top, then people who are under them also want to be like them. So it is more or less like we want to be like our guy. And Oga will say, until you get to my position before. So they also want to cut their shares out of what the Oga will take or what the Oga will get from the beginning that they see it coming to them. That's the one. Then another issue is this. We live in a society that it is either you are rich or you are poor. If people know you to be rich at all, there is no middle class. Everybody wants, even the middle class that are strong, all of them want to get to the top of the ridge. So it's a society where people will just want to get to that point that they can be comfortable and want to also influence people with their wealth. So it has become something that it is not just at the government level, but it has cut across our society fiber that everybody is just looking at wealth, which now breeds greed. And it is that greed that transfers to every man and woman who find themselves in a position of authority or find themselves working for government, who now exercise that greed to the point that something that's supposed to take government 2-3 weeks to be done, it will now take government 2-3 months, even a year, as a result of what? Money must exchange hands. And these are the things that have caused problems for us.
Now, with all these presidential debates, we're in the campaign period, election campaign period. Now, with all the candidates, like we just read the count, saying to some of the candidates, presidential candidates, Obi and Atiku and all the others. Now, they get there. How do you not hold them accountable for their promises?
It's not going to be easy to hold anybody accountable for promises because there is no signed agreement between you and them before they get there. We must understand that. Now, they showcase their manifesto, they showcase the document they want to do. Now, when they get there, you remember I said it on the platform that political parties have members. I was so ashamed. I was listening to a particular conversation between people, Abuja, Amak. when you are elected as a chairman, the people who help you to become the chairman, you begin to service them by creating opportunity for them to make money, by giving the opportunity to collect taxes from agencies, from company. And with that money they are collecting, majority of the money doesn't go to the government.
It goes to
It goes to their pocket. And this is how it is even done at the federal government level. Now, a state, somebody become a president. People who have campaigned for him, they have done all manner of exercise to make sure that he's there. Now it's not time to pay back.
They have
now,
to recoup their money.
Recoup their money. You don't want to make appointment. He's appointing them into position of authority. What do you think they will be doing? Now, even if those people are going to recruit workers into that place, they are going to recruit people that know that when they do anything wrong, they will keep quiet. And that's what is happening in Nigeria. If we check people that are complaining the organization of government are not functioning, ask them, the people that are working in the organization, what are they doing? They know that things are being done wrongly, but they can't talk. As a result of the chief executive brought them into the organization. And when they are there, as a guy is eating, which you must eat. As a guy is doing wrongly, which also must do wrongly. And that's what happens. So when somebody becomes a president in Nigeria, the recruitment process that is going to bring in people to work with him, either SA, either minister, they are all going to do something that will either help the party to continue to enjoy the youth of the government or the wealth of the state, or they do something that bring back to the people. But majority, they will do what will help them individually. And that's what we have found ourselves. All these people campaigning for this opening group, different group for either PDP, Labour Party, even printing banner, poster, umbrella, giving them jotters to go and distribute t-shirts, they are going to recoup their money. Some of them will fight to become commissioner at the state level, either commissioner for one of the government agencies or board members of one of the government agencies. This is how they were going to recoup their money. I was telling someone that, talking about a particular candidate, and people are giving to him freely. I think I could say go and check the PCC, Presidential Campaign Council list. These are the people that will make up the government if they eventually find themselves in the power. Because these are people that will become board of directors, commissioner of something, or SA, and ministers. Those are the people that will become. So at the end of the day, what do you think they will do first? They want to recoup.
Okay, so do you see these meetings and debates as an exercise in futility?
It doesn't work. The other time on a sister agency that I spoke, I said what normally happens is that the actors are signing agreement with people like themselves, elite consensus agreement, because it is at the elite point. Now, the people at the grassroots don't know whether there is debate. The people at the grassroots don't know whether there is a peace accord. Now, when peace accord is signed, it is signed between the elite that will not kill ourselves, but the people can go ahead and kill themselves. That's what it means. But when the people sign agreement with you that we will not kill ourselves and you two will not come and kill us, it will be more better. So we must take that signing debate to the grassroots. If we don't take it to the grassroots, there's no way the people will know what we want to do. And if we don't take it in a way that and speak it in a language they understand, they will be confused the more. So we must do it in a way that people at the grassroots must know. We must not put it just end up at the elite level, because all this debate, all this signing of agreement or peace accord is at the elite level. That's why you see that when the crisis starts, when the violence starts, the elites are always away from it. They will not be impacted.
Yes.
Even though they may have issue with maybe one of their buildings, but they will not be impacted the way the poor masses will be obstructed, will be destroyed, will be killed, and they will lose a lot of things. So we must make sure that whatever we are doing must not just be in an elite base, but must trickle down to the grassroots and to the ordinary people.
Thank you so much. That's very fortunate. So from leadership and Daily Sun, we move over to the Vanguard newspaper. Or let's say THISDAY newspaper. THISDAY says, before PDP crisis, let's go over to THISDAY and talk oil. THISDAY newspaper, Buhari kickstarts oil drilling in North as $3 billion Komani River oil wells takes off. Buhari kickstarts oil drilling in North as $3 billion Komani River oil wells takes off. Northern Governor Tinubu orders offbeat, urge operators to learn from mistakes in Niger Delta. New discovery to add 1 billion barrels, 500 BCF of gas to national reserves. Facility expected to produce 120,000 barrels per day. House refinery fertilizer plant. That's the leading story on THISDAY, this Wednesday. The Guardian newspaper also has similar story. Let's see how this Guardian newspaper cashed it. Guardian newspaper. The Guardian, oil drilling begins in Gombe, Bauchi with 1 billion barrels oil, 500 BSCF gas. Oil drilling begins in Gombe, Bauchi with 1 billion barrels oil, 500 BSCF gas. I would have loved to read the riders on that leading story. Buhari orders NNPC to step up search oil search, says Komani project attracted $3 billion investment. Buhari orders NNPC to step up oil search, says Komani project attracted $3 billion investment. Sylvia Carey drums support for exploration across inland. Lawan advocates constitutional review for 13% derivation utilization. Bauchi, Gombe governors pledge support conducive environment. I will take project up from Buhari, says Tinubu. That's the leading story on The Guardian and THISDAY, talking about the oil drilling in Gombe and Bauchi State. Well, that is a welcome relief.
Exactly, welcome relief and an economic impact from the government of Buhari, in the sense that in the previous government before now, social government.
And this is a thumbs up also for Buhari, because Buhari has spent years searching for oil.
It's not just Buhari.
Even when he was a PTF,
exactly,
money has been divested, and when he was also petroleum minister in the first, second republic.
Exactly. No, it's an economic welcome development for Nigeria, for entire Nigeria, not just the northern part of Nigeria, because whatever is coming from there will still be shared across board. Though apart from the 13% derivation that the whole state will collect, and community based on the PIN that we have now, Petroleum Industry Act, the whole community will also benefit greatly with 3 to 5% for them. Now, the key thing is this: learning from the mistake of what happened in the data is the key message from this particular report, which I need to take on the government at this point in time, or government that will come in after 2021. Refinery must be built there, which they have stated in the plan. 2, a fertilizer plant. But the key aspect of it is that we have also excess of gas in that area, and gas is very key to the economy. Apart from the crude oil, we also have gas. So how are we going to manage it in the sense that we can now have opportunity to have refinery that we can now refine the crude oil product without losing all the particles in the crude oil? The mistake in the Nigeria Delta was that Nigerian government on its own didn't press it on the MNCs, the multinational oil companies that are working in Nigeria, to build refinery. I think in this new plan, the multinational oil company that will work there must first and foremost build refinery before they continue to build their rigs that are going to be exploring those crude oil. Then 2, gas plant exploration must also be done.
Exactly, because that's important, especially as the world is moving away from
fossil fuel, which is very key, because gas is the next line.
And you understand? And even in Nigeria Delta, we have about 88 years, we have so much deposit of gas in the Niger Delta,
and it's not where
Nigeria is not utilizing for the moment. And as explained to me by the group business editor, the world is actually moving away from gas, but Nigeria says no, gas should be part of it. But now, what do you see in the future of gas exploration in Nigeria?
The issue is this: we understand the plight of the European countries, developed countries, why they are moving away from fossil fuel and moving to gas. But the key thing
they are even moving away from gas.
But we must not run away from both, in a sense that, you see, I've always said it, that on every platform I had opportunity to discuss about this climate change stuff that we are talking about. Now, the technology behind alternative is not owned by Africans, it's not owned by third world countries, it's not owned by countries like Nigeria. Because if we run away and if we just jettison and quickly join these guys in the climate change or whatever they are talking about, our economy will not be good for it.
No, it won't be good for it.
Because we will still come back and be running after the technology.
Yes, we are, yes.
Meanwhile, we have started understanding this current technology that have helped them to get to the level that they are. And they are still spending money, because there was a report that came out last week that even Europe are still spending money in exploration of crude oil in their areas. Norway, for example, is the biggest crude oil producer in Europe. They are still spending money. They have not yet totally leave it. So we should not close our eyes and say, okay, because they say we should leave it, we should just jump. We jump from it into it. We are jumping to, in a sense that the technology is owned by them. The forests that we have been complaining that dollar is, will continue to run and it will damage our economy. Rather, the transition should be gradual. We should understand where this technology is coming from, how we can domesticate this technology. We have several 64 64 institutions begin to buy into those technology and begin to use our own grown innovation ideas to develop those technology before we catch up with them. Then this one that we are still managing, let us continue to manage it. Because if we don't, the issue of poverty that we are saying that they want to help us to reduce, it will never be reduced. Rather, it will be increased as a result of we chasing the technology and using the technology to develop.
You know, it's a good thing that commanding these Bochi, the oil exploration in Bochi and Gombe State is starting up on a good pedestal, you know, as compared to the Niger Delta. Because as we speak, there are no foreign investors to harness the gas, the massive gas deposit in that region, and that is a big impact, negative impact.
And again, one other thing we must learn is this: it is not all international. Oil and gas is not just for international, so that we can earn foreign currency for the economy. No, we should also look at let's strategically
it's a big project, so it has not been able to attract even local investors.
The government can take it up. The Nigerian government can take it up. It's okay. The oil we are discovering from north is for consumption at home. What I mean by consumption, we are going to exploit it and refine it and sell the product to add and stop importation of crude oil. If refinery can be built in the next 1 year, that refinery can just sap all the 19 northern states and some part of the southern states. It will go a long way. Then the importation will reduce. Then the gas exploration that NLG are so much focused on exporting 70% of its production. Now, we now have a gas from Bauchi and Gombe. Can we now bring to the 30 that you are giving us and add to it, make 100 and supply local use with 100%? Then continue your 70% exportation. That's another way. But because if we now say, okay, this one too, we are going to export it, we are going to find ourselves in big problem. Because it has always been in the idol, let us sell abroad so that we can earn more. But we are forgetting that the local consumption to need it. Although the fear of the government is about illicit flow of it that go through the border, smuggling and the rest of them. But if we tie the security around our oil exploitation and oil exploration, we can now put it in the home use and people at home can use it. And we can now limit our importation of gas as well as importation of PMS and diesel and the rest of them. Because that's the way I see it.
Yes. And many experts are of the opinion that when Nigeria begins to this gas, it will go a long way in tackling the power issues in the country, because we have so many sources of transmitting power.
Because especially the power plant, some of them that need gas. This will also serve. Yes. And you remember we have a project of this AKK pipeline gas from Nigeria that already got into Abuja that is going up to Morocco. Now this one can also serve and come down and spread across Nigeria for all consumption use. We should not just be thinking about selling it to earn dollar, selling it to earn foreign. No, let us think of how to exploit it, refine it, and sell it for local consumption. Imagine the entire northern state of Nigeria is consuming crude oil refined from Bauchi and Gombe. The importation will be less. Abuja will suffer less of fuel scarcity. But when we focus on just exporting because of earning forex, it will become a danger to the economy. That's how I see it.
Thank you so much. From THISDAY and The Guardian, we'll move over to Daily Sun. Daily Sun is talking politics. Sorry, Vanguard newspaper. Vanguard is talking politics. Still on PDP imbroglio. PDP crisis. IBBGJ move to reconcile Atiku Wike. PDP crisis. Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan moved to reconcile Atiku Wike. Atiku's meeting with ex-president Fruitful PCC subs. Pro-Atiku group chides Jang. G5 governors overstands on Ayu. Is there no end in sight for this PDP crisis?
I think an end is coming with the intervention of IBB and GET. But there is little those ones can do, because these are people that will, at the end of the day, whatever I say, they say contradict the stance of the Governor Wike's group. Definitely, there won't be any resolution at it. We'll just hope that whatever they're going to say.
Just when you think that there's going to be an end to the intractable crisis, Wike comes up with another bomb. Like I just said, read in on that paper, it said Atiku did not support Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So
why will you do? Goodluck now come and stand for him? And no, the issue is about politics, about interest. We just hope that they can resolve this crisis.
At the same time, we have Wike saying that he's not going anywhere, that he stays put in the party yet. you don't want the crisis to end.
The issue still remains some national chairman of PDP resigning and allow a southern candidate take over. That is the answer. And that's what he's been saying.
But however, they are saying that it's a bit too close for election to have that.
It doesn't matter. What they want is vote. And for them to get vote, they must sacrifice certain things and let go certain things so that certain things can come to them. If they think that allowing the man to stay will help them to win the election, fine and good. But if they think that, on the other hand, allowing the man to go will also add to their victory in 2023, they should accept it. But if they think the other way, they should just maintain their status quo. But what Wike is saying that you must go. And for you must to go, someone from the southern part of the country must take over. But that has been the opposition from
what
the
many people can understand is that why would the same people that are stakeholders in the party be instrumental in destabilizing their own party?
It's all about
Can the party
interest.
afford to stay in opposition in the next 4 years?
They were able to stay in 8 years. So what happened in 4
You
years?
add another 4 years.
Yes, if the will be better for them so that they can go and rethink and re-strategize and come in 2027. But the key message still remains that it is all about interest. If the interests of the people are not satisfied, especially key state actors in PDP who feel that if this is like how we're going to do it, just like people are saying that APC is having Muslim ticket. People are differentiated, but they were able to manage their crisis.
Yes.
The same thing with PDP. Now you are bringing same people from the north. Why can't we allow this one to go so that peace can reign? And you can see the way APC is doing their own, even though they have a Muslim ticket, but they have been able to persuade their members that even with this, you will still get what you want. And that's why they can be able to allude to that. But on the PDP side, the key thing is this. The anti-Atiku gang or group knew that if PDP win, eventually, they will not get anything. Even if they allow it to stay like this. That's what they feel. And the best way to checkmate the presidential candidate of PDP, even if he becomes president, is to correct him at this stance and allow him to take the dictate of the people. Because to them, internal democracy is key. If he eventually becomes president, that means anything can go. There's another way, anything can just happen. Appointment of people, putting people in government position can just be done by only him, and nobody can checkmate him. So that is what they are trying to do, so that it can become agreement is agreement. What about if you become president and begin to go against the constitution and nobody wants to stand against him? So it's a lesson that him himself as president, and he must learn that he mustn't take all the old decisions by himself for himself as a result of his interest. He must take other people's cognizance interest into account. And that's what the PDP opposition in PDP are trying to say, led by Governor Wike.
So is there any way forward for the party now?
The only way forward is that they should adhere to internal democracy. Let somebody from the south take over the national chairmanship position. Simple.
However, but the pro-article group are of the opinion that one is not just removing the chairman, because it will now change the balance too, because the other members of the National Working Committee
Definitely
are also Southerners since they have the IU. So that means they have to replace
they
them
will
with the
restructure
Northerners.
everything.
And
Yes.
that will take time. That will take time to go.
That's why I said from the beginning that do they want a vote from this anti-article group? If they want the vote, they should go ahead and do what they want to do. But if they think that their vote doesn't count, they should just continue with what they have.
Now, before we leave the issue, who do you think pro-article group they are counting on, depending on? Remember that no matter what, is it that they are not taking into cognizance the votes from these zones, from this G5?
They did, but what they are bound by counting on is that the people are using.
But by their recalcitrant behavior, it means they are calling a
blunt
G5.
Exactly. The issue is this. They have done the calculation. APC, PDP have known where their huge vote will come from. So any other one that is coming is just like additional. And you know that in those 5G governor states, they are core PDP states. So no matter what, PDP have feelings for this. They know that even if they win and become the president of Nigeria, they have something for this. They can reconcile after the election, but they are just showing their muscle at this point in time. So now, not that they don't recognize those votes, but they have already done their calculation that this is where it's coming from, this is where it's coming from. This one are just Jara. They are just Jara vote. To let us see if we can sacrifice that Jara vote. And that's what is happening at the point in time.
Won't it be to their own detriment?
It will be, but they have done their mathematics well and see that, okay, if it doesn't come at all, we know we can get from here. That is just what they are doing. And including APC too. That's why I see that everybody
and don't forget that for PDP, this zone, especially from a Wike zone, talking about the South and South, they are the main stronghold. There has been the main stronghold of PDP over the years. They remain so steadfast, the base for PDP. And this time around, there is an issue. And why is the pro-Atiku group not willing to concede that, oh, these these 2 zones that have held us afloat all these years?
The issue is this, from another angle that we have to look at this matter, is that it is interest, number one. Then two, it is also the ego of this elite political gladiators. Then thirdly, it is also as a result of their local grassroots politics. Each of these groups that you are seeing have grips of their grassroots politics. So they think that if you say this is what will happen. If you say this what, so that's what they are playing at. But we must not forget that at the end, PDP in those states have loyalists that no matter what, that's why you see that Wiki is very careful in talking about whether he's going to give his vote for APC or give his vote. He's very careful because he knows that at the end of the day, PDP is his party. Anytime, any day, he can run there. And again, from the calculation of this 5G government, they know that PDP can take over in 2023. But they're also very skeptical that APC also can remain in power. So they are just doing everything on a safer level. And that's what they are doing. But for the pro-Atiku, they know that with this governor, this 5G governor, anything can happen to the party. But they also know that if Atiku win and without the support of this governor, it will be better for them. That is
so
it.
They can just leave it.
Exactly. It will be better for them. So they are all calculating, they are all doing their manipulation, and they're all putting their thinking cap around the voting pattern. Because what Nigerian politicians are looking at, the voting pattern of the people. We know that the middle class and sub voters are in the city centers. But the rural areas, who understand the voting pattern very well from the angle of the grassroots politics, these are the people that all these politicians are depending on. That's why I see that a particular candidate is very popular on social media. They don't care about those ones. They are looking at the rural areas where these votes, the manipulation, the influences will come from. Already they are giving up on the suburban or middle class voters, but they are looking at the grassroots, and that's why the mathematics of what INEC is always afraid for will always come from.
Yes, the election, we're still in the election campaign period, and the election campaign seems to be low. What's the account responsible for this?
Number one is insecurity issue. The number two, the candidate, they don't want to rush and get exhausted.
Is it that they have so much time doing this because of these new electoral ads?
Definitely. We still have a full 30 days in January, we have a full 31 days in December. So why rush? If you exhaust all your plans now, all your energy, what will you use to run 24 hours before the election day? So they are just taking their time. That's why they are planning strategically. And they know that what will register in the minds of the people is 22 hours election, 24 hours election. Not the one that you are giving them 2 months ago, because they will forget. An event will overtake several things as it is happening. You can see that everybody is saying this, everybody is saying that. Don't forget that the main thing that will register in the mind of people is 24 hours before the election. What that political gladiators will do that will change the narrative. That on the day of the election, as the person want to put his thumb on the ballot paper, when he remember the last statement that politician said, he will just go and complain. And that's it.
It's really funny. It's true, especially for those at the grassroots level.
Exactly.
You are so right. Yeah, well, viewers as well come to an end on today's Inside Nigeria. With me in the studio has been a political analyst, a public affairs analyst, political scientist, and a public affairs analyst. Olamilekan Adefolare. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me.
To see more of you. And viewers, this is where we are running up. Don't forget, same time, same station. Tomorrow is another day. I remain Winifred Bebo. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.